bookshop on Fairfax Street in Los Angeles, we can see a picture of a woman and a girl who made the benediction over Shabbos candlelight. Her name is Yocheved, and the girl is her daughter Sarah. Let's listen to her extraordinary story.
My name is Yocheved. I live in Los Angeles with my husband, Ruvain, an attorney. We have between us 7 children. I had 2 from a previous marriage. He had 2, and we have 3 together. So altogether there is Simone, mother of 5, age 31.
That's your daughter.
That's mine. Now ours, but we don't do the yours and.
I understand. No.
And then Tara Rachel, who used to be Laura, and she's 30. And then there's Binyamin, who used to be Ben, and he's 28. And then there's Sarah, who was always Sarah, and she's 24. And Shlomo, who used to be Seth, and he's 20. And Elisheva, who's almost 14. And Gavriel Yehuda, we call Yudi, and he's 9.
Okay, Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem is right.
Yes. Yocheved, please tell us about your religious background.
Well, when I was born, I was christened and confirmed. I'm not sure what I was christened and confirmed, but it was Christian. I think it was Episcopalian, and I was an only child, and my parents were very anxious that I have some religion to fall back on in case I needed it, and so they christened and confirmed me. I had a hard time. I had a hard time getting into it. I only went to church for the chocolate Easter eggs on once a year, which wasn't very good motivation as far as my parents were concerned. So they tried me in Baptist church. They tried me Lutheran. They tried Methodist. They tried Christian Science. Anything they heard of, they tried to send me in hopes that I would get some religion, and nothing ever took. And when I became older, meaning an older teenager in my 20s, I thought that it must be that religion was only for people who needed it like a crutch, and I guess I didn't need it, so I didn't need religion and didn't look for it. And that is my religious background. Nothing.
Why you chose Judaism?
I'm not sure that I chose Judaism at all. I think it kind of chose me. Or actually, we learn in Judaism that there is a Jew, there is a non-Jew, and there is that kind of unique person who is destined to be a Jew but was not born one. And I guess that I was one of those. And when I converted and became a Jew, it became clear that I was one of those. And even as a child, I always pursued Jews. I mean, in terms of boyfriends, they were Jewish. In terms of girlfriends, they were Jewish. And the girlfriends were fine as far as my parents were concerned, but as far as the boys were concerned, they were very nervous because they always told me that Jews stick together, and therefore no Jewish boy would marry me. But they were wrong. And one did. And I don't know why I was always so attracted to, I didn't know why I was always so attracted to Jews, but of course now I know, because there was this spiritual affinity between the souls. But I didn't have access to my Jewish soul until I converted according to Jewish law, al pi halacha.
Your first husband was a Christian?
No, he actually turned out to be a Jew also, but when we married, I had no idea that he was Jewish, and he had no idea that he was Jewish. One day his sister told him that she had found out from their mother that they were in fact Jewish. And he was quite pleased because he was a radical of sorts, and he was really happy that he could have kind of a radical status being a Jew. And he now has although he's always stipulated that he was an atheist, is now married to a Jewish woman and had a Jewish wedding, and their son had a kosher bris. So God does interesting things.
He was a religious Jew?
No, he was an atheist. He didn't believe in God at all. And I was in pretty much agreement with him. And I don't think he would call himself an atheist now. Not religious, but not an atheist either.
How you was involved in Judaism?
When I married my husband, Reuven, we had a son together within 2 years after we were married. And I, for some reason, felt very strongly that this child, even though I knew he wasn't Jewish, I felt very strongly that he should have access to some information about a Jewish background, since his father was a Jew. So I started looking in the Yellow Pages, just really literally the Yellow Pages, looking for synagogues that would instruct me as to what I should tell my son about his background. And finally I found a synagogue who offered some classes for whomever, and I started going. And I found it fascinating. I didn't find that it necessarily applied to me, but it was information. And then one day, the rabbi of the synagogue, which was really a Reform conservative synagogue, must have been pretty Reformed because I don't remember there ever mentioning God. So one day the rabbi said, "You know what you should do? Maybe, we have a Sabbath on Friday night, and this Sabbath," he said, "this Friday night you don't watch television. And you put out a nice tablecloth, and you prepare a special meal. You tell everybody to be home, and then I'm going to give you these little words to say in Hebrew." He gave me the transliteration. "And if you say these words and you light the Shabbos candles, you'll see it's a nice little thing to do with the family." So I thought, okay, I like to do nice little things with the family. So I prepared everything. Everybody sat around. And then when I got to reading the transliteration of the blessing for lighting the Sabbath candles, my husband, who was until that point looking very pleased and sitting at the table, absolutely was furious with me. Furious. He said, "What's the matter with you? If you joined a cult, what are you saying? You don't even know what you're saying. This is ridiculous." And I couldn't believe my ears, because this was his religion, and he was upset with me for trying to bring it to the family. And I'm not an easy cry, but I started to cry, and I left the table. The other children looked and said, "Oh, Daddy, how could you?" They left the table, and soon only my husband was sitting alone at the table, trying to enjoy his meal. But soon after, he came into me and he said, "I don't know what came over me. I don't know why I had such a violent response to your doing something so lovely." He said, "Please, I'm so sorry. Next week you light those Shabbos candles." And I said, "Light the Shabbos? I'm never going to light those Shabbos candles again. Look what it brought me. Such grief I don't need." So the next Sabbath, the next Shabbos, I did not light. But the Sabbath after, I did, and I've been lighting ever since. And that was almost 18 years ago. If you want to know why I converted, it's kind of an interesting story, because it's something that just came to me. It wasn't anything I really did. But after I started lighting Shabbos candles, I began getting more information. I started to drag my husband, the natural-born Jew, into Judaism. And he joined the synagogue, and I made him give up Friday night television, and we went to the